All right, hello and good afternoon, everyone. Here at Ocali TV, I'm Alex Tusky, and I'm joined by Grayson Singleton and Jace Andrews. We are here in Phoenix. We hope you've been following along with us on social media and here at Ocali TV on the app. We have a lot to cover in the Fiesta Bowl this week. The Cowboys are taking on Notre Dame this Saturday on New Year's Day. Grayson, what are your thoughts on both teams as a whole looking at their regular season?
Well, first of all, these teams are very similar in their makeup and how they go about their business. As for their seasons, they both have had, really losses that probably could have been avoided and probably would have changed the fortunes of their seasons. Notre Dame's early season loss to Cincinnati and Oklahoma State's to Iowa State. But, in terms of the makeup of the team, both teams, they rely on the run game. Notre Dame's going to rely on Chris Tyree as their top rusher. Kyron Williams has opted out for the draft. And they asked their quarterback, Jack Cohn, to be more of a game manager, similar to how Oklahoma State does with Spencer Sanders. But both teams can get after the quarterback and take the ball away defensively.
Jace, what are your thoughts?
Well, I think that's one of the big things is Jack Cohn and how he's playing. I mean, the transfer, he's doing pretty well, but I think the biggest problem is without that lead back, they're going to have to ask him to kind of get some time in that pocket, and he's not a running quarterback, and I think that's going to be the ultimate decider of how this game will go, because if Cohn can get out of the pocket, Cowboys may be a little bit of trouble.
In case you missed our video earlier this morning, we kind of talked about how the big headlines for the Cowboys going into this game is that they will be without defensive coordinator Jim Knowles. He accepted the same position at Ohio State University, and he will not be coaching this Saturday. He had a historic season with the Cowboy defense, and the team will miss him greatly. Coach Gundy will announce tomorrow who the official coordinator will be for this game, not necessarily for the future seasons. But it's also important to note that Notre Dame, their head coach Brian Kelly moved on, and their defensive coordinator Marcus Freeman has now stepped up into the head coaching role. So both teams are playing with a new defensive coordinator in that position. Jace, how do you think that's going to affect these two defenses?
Well, I think it's going to affect Oklahoma State a little bit more because Marcus Freeman did not leave. He is still here, and he's probably going to be the defensive coordinator during the game. I mean, when a head coach is taken from that defensive coordinator, especially at the end of the season, most of the time, positions won't change. He'll probably still run the defense. He'll probably still call those plays, and the offense will probably still be run by the offensive coordinator. Now, the thing that will change for Oklahoma State is we do not have a guy calling the plays. That was Knowles' job. That was Knowles' kind of game plan. He made the way. And so I obviously don't know who now. Joe Bob Clemens was the one who came in and talked and spoke to the media yesterday, so we would assume he'd be the one, but obviously can't make assumptions. But I think the biggest thing is Oklahoma State will not have it while Notre Dame will have their guy. It'll just be a different role.
Now, Grayson, Coach Gundy has mentioned that he might have two coaches calling plays on Saturday. How do you think, is that going to be an issue? Do you think that'll be beneficial, or what are your thoughts on that?
Well, hopefully they've worked on this in the month's preparation between the Big 12 championship and this weekend. Because what happens is you don't have that same mind, you don't have that same voice. And when you do two voices, two co-play callers, it's a lot of looking to the sideline. You've got to really train your guys on which guys to look at. So it's going to take time. That's something that usually is installed over the course of an entire offseason. Oklahoma State has had 3 weeks to do it, so it'll be very interesting to watch that dynamic unfold as the game progresses.
Looking back 3 weeks ago, you kind of mentioned OSU played Baylor in the Big 12 championship in AT&T Stadium and lost 21-16. It was a heartbreaker. We were very close to scoring on that last possession. We were missing a key running back, Jaylen Warren, in that game. Today he spoke to the media and said he's 100% healthy and he should be playing on Saturday. What kind of addition do you think that'll bring back into this offense?
Well, it will bring back their base MO of going about their business. Like we said, both teams really like to rely on their run game and ask their quarterback to be more of a game manager. Oklahoma State was not able to do that in the Big 12 championship game against Baylor. There was a lot of onus on Spencer Sanders, lead us down the field, kind of play outside of what you've been doing this entire season. So I think with Jaylen Warren back, he's their power back, but he's also the guy that hits the holes and fits the way the offensive line is built. So having him back will now take more pressure off of Spencer Sanders, and it will also be able to just bring the Cowboys offense back to what it normally does.
Now, while we haven't had a chance to speak to Spencer Sanders yet, hopefully we'll do that either later tonight or tomorrow. Jace, what are you expecting to see from Sanders in this game?
Well, Sanders is going to have a big role in terms of keeping his composure. I think we heard a lot about it, but his composure is one of the biggest, I'm not going to say issues, but biggest kind of focus points for Spencer Sanders because he's very hard on himself. I mean, he wants to perform and he wants to do well for his team and for his brothers on this team. And so I think the biggest thing for him is just keeping calm and keeping his mindset on what's ahead of him, not thinking what's going to happen in the next play, but what's happening now. And so if he can just keep his composure and understand pocket presence, okay, I got to get out of here and go, then he should be fine. But I think a lot of that is going to come down to him and Casey Dunn working together, because I think that's going to be a big role. And from what I've heard from Casey Dunn, it sounds like they've developed a good relationship and they have a really good game plan for the
All
game.
right, well, that's all we have time for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Alex, joined by Grayson and Jace. Make sure you're following Ocali on all social media platforms and our personal Twitters, as we will be posting exclusive content for you, our viewers here at Ocali TV. Tune in again tomorrow, and we will see you then.